another bang. All the Mars and cars now, whichever hit her. Light up my scars with a sweet one bliss. Someone flicks me a bag by the end. Say, oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Stay Weighed-In show presented to you by iBoxingHub. I'm joined by my man Ray. How you doing?
Doing all right, thank you. Tired as ever from the UFC, which I'm sure a lot of boxing fans are going to be scoffing at. But yeah, how about yourself?
Do you know what? I'm also a bit tired. You're right. Look, we're combat sports fans, we're boxing fans, we're MMA fans, and we're here to talk about the big crossover fight. Anthony Joshua. Before we get into that, as always, guys, if you do support the channel, head over to D-Rock's clothing website. You can actually get 40% off by using the promo code iBoxingHub24. So again, as I mentioned before, if you love our content and you want to support us a bit more, use the promo code. Go get yourself some great clothes as well and some garments. But without further ado, Ray, let's go into what we saw on Friday night, Saturday morning in Saudi Arabia. Francis Ngannou knocked out by Anthony Joshua within 2 rounds. And look, there was a lot of people coming into the fight, MMA fans, some boxing fans who I'm going to label as haters personally, say, look, Francis Ngannou may be able to beat Anthony Joshua. He's never been knocked out, etc., etc. He's got the power. Look what he did to Tyson Fury. But what we saw on Friday night was a professional boxer who's been in this game longer than he's probably...
Unified champion, not even just professional. Yeah. Former unified champion.
Yep, Olympic gold medalist, a guy that's been doing this his entire life.
Let them know the accolades.
And we saw the end result. So talk to me about the fight, and should we have been naive not to expect this?
To all the people that are doubting AJ, absolutely. Obviously, man's team AJ. I'm team Francis as well, but I was saying this from the beginning. This was an AJ win all over this. And I used an analogy to a friend the other day. What it came across to me was Tyson Fury is like that guy at school where they're naturally smart, but because of that, they've also got through on tests by barely revising. So when it came to the Ngannou test, it was like he got caught by surprise by a test he should have been properly prepared for, and he didn't. AJ, on the other hand, saw how Fury done and was just like, this test is doable, but I'm going to revise properly. And AJ did, and he done what he went in there and done what a boxing representative was supposed to do, especially in the heavyweight division. Get this guy out of here ASAP. I'm a former unified champ, and he acted accordingly, and he done what he needed to do. It hurt me because Francis is my guy, but like I've said before, he's going to be disappointed, and then he's going to wake up saying, listen, I went through it against 2 of the best, and now I'm a whole lot of millions up. So it is what it is.
I do want to stay with AJ for a bit before we transition to Ngannou and just the crossover side of things. One guy that's obviously come into his life recently, and if anything, we've got the AJ 3.0, as you've christened it as well.
AJ 3.0, come on.
Ben Davison. For me, this is a relationship now that shouldn't break off at any sort of random point. And it's one of them that, yes, I think if he fights Usyk or Tyson Fury, which is what it seems like he's going to fight next, the winner of, it's that fight that can win him the world title. And it's because if he keeps Ben Davison in his corner. Talk to me about the impact Ben's had in AJ's camp, and if you agree with that sentiment as well.
I think what Ben Davison has done is that he's brought 2 things together. He's brought the ferocity of the puncher AJ that he was in his younger days, but then he's also brought AJ 2.0, who was the thinking boxer and the guy who wanted to improve. But he's brought them together at a healthy medium where it's just like, let me help you when to activate the puncher, but then also still be the smart boxer that you developed into. And I feel like Project AJ 2.0 was him trying to figure out what way can I still be who I need to be, but in a smarter way. Because I've said this before, all the people that are just like, oh, we want AJ from the Klitschko fight. That AJ from the Klitschko fight won't always win all the time. And it's also just like in a concussive sport like boxing, it's not going to be the most healthy long term.
I was going to say that if you're getting knocked down in fights against top opposition, it's fine because they're top opposition, but you don't want to go 3, 4, 5 fights in a row where you have to get up from the canvas and then go on. But yeah,
so go on.
No, I was just going to say carry on because I'm with you on that particular point. Because he went from Klitschko, then he went to Ruiz, I believe so as well. I don't think there was a gap in middle.
No. Joseph Parker, who also made a fantastic comeback.
Yeah, so that's my point. Like you don't want to be in that position where you're constantly being knocked down and then going and knocking somebody out. But yeah, sorry, go on, carry on. What you were saying?
Yeah, so I think Ben Davison has been able to merge AJ in a way that obviously he tried to seek that with Robert Garcia. He tried it with Derek James, Lewis UFC fighter, Derek James, and it's weird because I don't know where that relationship is at. But I think Ben Davison has been able to merge what AJ's been trying to do so well, and I think this is the perfect partnership. However, it does become conflicted, whereas will Ben Davison remain impartial if AJ goes on to face Klitschko? I'm tired. If AJ goes on to face Fury, which will be the most interesting aspect of it all.
Do you think then, I'm going to go into this, right? Because let's say he stays with AJ. AJ then becomes world champion. He's now obviously taking Tyson Fury to the promised land, taking AJ to the promised land. We hear a lot about, I would say, Bo Mark, Eddie Reynoso. There's a lot of hype in him, and rightfully so with what they're doing with Canelo and Crawford. Ben Davison's kind of go under the radar where he's probably just a little bit underappreciated for the value he brings to boxers.
Do you know what? Ben Davison's coaching career has been so up and down because he became the go-to guy for a bit, and then it became funny to make fun of him, calling him boxer size Ben, and credit to him. He took it on the chin. He kept on going. Obviously, you had the situation with Lee Woods, then he lost. Then obviously they said that Josh Taylor didn't look the greatest under him as well after, and he started losing some big names, but he kept on going at it. Like I said, Lee Woods stayed loyal to him. Then Lee Woods lost the fight when Ben Davis, threw in the white towel and everyone was just looking at him funny. And then the way he helped Lee Wood rebuild after that, fantastic. And then obviously matching up with AJ since for the for the other Wallen fight.
Yeah.
Was just like, this is what AJ needed. Now I feel like credit to Ben for rebuilding. The job's not done yet, so let's not do Coach of the Year just yet. But he's showing promising signs, and so I'm hoping that he goes into the next few fights and then gets AJ 3.0 undisputed world champion. Because listen, man, I'm all in. I throw my chips in, man. I told you. AJ 3.0, bring on Usyk. Before, I was a bit shook of AJ facing Usyk again, but AJ 3.0, bring Usyk, man.
You know what? I'm the same. Like, I'm going to buy into the hype because the hype is real. The only problem is when they go into the ring, then and it goes ding ding. I'm like, I just
no. I'm shook, but mentally, AJ seems in a very better space than he's ever been. So that's why I'm like, before, when he was like, I kind of just like, when he was going through his rebuilding stage in 2023, I was kind of just like, but what he's shown in 2024, listen, man, this new AJ, I'm awake. I am awake.
So this is what I'm half getting from Ben, because then I want to touch on the crossover side and then following on AJ, is that Ben Davison for me is very good at being able to build you up to that level. It's just then once you get to that level, how good are you with him versus what other better options can potentially be out there for you. And I think AJ might potentially be that guy where if he works with him like for a couple of fights type of thing, especially if he becomes champion, like if he can continue to get him wins. But I want to touch on Ngannou before AJ, and in terms of this entire crossover thing. Now, look, I'll admit he's fought two out of the top 3 boxing heavyweights, so no shame in losing there. The only problem I have with Francis Ngannou right now, or just even the crossover side, is I think Tyson Fury gave the MMA world, maybe even Francis Ngannou a little bit, an element of delusion, in the sense that you can go in, fight with the top 5, top 10 heavyweights, and hang with them, exactly. And then, as I said before, once you have a heavyweight who's prepared and doesn't come in with love handles like Tyson Fury does, because look, I've always said this no homo, nothing like that, no pause. I look at Tyson Fury by his love handles. If I see them love handles are a bit bigger than normal, I'm like, yo, he's not prepared for this one. We could see a fight. But this is my point. That particular fight, I think, give an element of delusion that he can hang with the top 10 heavyweight guys and stuff like that, when he could probably hang with certain level of boxers, but not to that caliber. And I would probably say now, for his own health as well, it's probably best for him to put boxing to a significant back burner and see what he can do with the PFL. And I'd echo that for a lot of guys wanting to cross over into boxing from the MMA background, because they say, oh, he's got a chin, and he does, but he's got an MMA chin and not a boxer's chin. And I think that's also a big difference. So I'm interested to hear your point in terms of the delusion between potentially with MMA fans and maybe Ngannou might have been, and also what you expect him to do going forward. And I blame Tyson Fury a lot for it, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's Tyson Fury's fault, but you also got to remember with boxers, a lot of them have delusion, but you need that delusion to get to where they're at. Do you think a normal person is going to take the route that Ngannou took? The fact that you became UFC champion and you bet on yourself to then leave your contract and get this payday, that's not a normal person's thought process. So is a case of, it's like delusion got you to where you are, but then now that you've got this reality check, will you make the right decision going forward? I feel like he could stay in boxing, and like we've mentioned before, it could just be a case of, cool, you've been in boxing, you're not going to get the big paydays again, because obviously you went against 2 of the best. I doubt they're going to put him up against another like former champion.
I was hearing talks of get him against Deontay Wilder and stuff. Don't do that. Look,
I can't lie.
Oh no! Don't get me wrong. Deontay looked bad. He looked very bad against Joseph Parker, but he's not against a elusive target. I'm not.
Yeah, if you're going to lose, that's not a bad person to lose. But I also don't want him to. It's like, enough losses. Please if you're gonna box again, go be on an undercard in a winnable fight.
Would you prefer him then to go back to MMA for now, for about a year at least, take 2 fights in MMA, PFL, then consider your options at 38?
For sure. Definitely take your time, go into MMA, remind people who you are again, just for the people that's like trying to run jokes and be weird. Go back to MMA, remind people who you are, be the big guy you are, because technically he's still the lineal heavyweight champion in MMA. So go back there, rest your head. You got a concussive knockout that you've never had before. Take your time, come back maybe midway through the year, not even midway because we're in March now.
Yeah.
That what, 3rd quarter, September, October, come back, get acclimated to MMA again, get a win in MMA, and then for the next year, decide, whether you want to stick with MMA or if you're going to go into boxing, bring the level down a bit and then go on the undercard. I still feel like he's a big enough attraction to still get paid millions, but yeah, put him in a winnable fight.
I was going to say, for me, again, I've said it before, like, he's got, when you have a brand and you're coming into another sport like boxing, to then lower yourself is so hard to do, because you need to match it. It's like Jake Paul. Like, I always say that I think Jake is, to some capacity, taking boxing seriously, but because of who he is, there's only so much of a level he can take it before it's like, oh, but Jake's not fighting it. We want to see, and that's why you got that Mike Tyson showcase that we're gonna have. And I think Ngannou is in some similar position where it's like you can't get him fighting someone who's ranked 31st, 32nd, because it's like you can't.
I think you, like I said, it depends on how you do it. I think you can, as long as he's not the main attraction. I think the issue with Jake Paul is just like he's fighting the fights that he's supposed to be fighting right now. However, it's not going to get the attraction that he needs because you're gonna have to, you need an opponent that people care about. And before you use like obviously former MMA guys. Whereas if you are not the main card, the same way while that's what Jake Paul was doing, he wasn't the main event. He was facing, you know, people that are supposed to face at his level on the undercard of Serrano. Do you get what I'm saying? So when the people complain about, oh, Jake Paul's making a mockery of this, that, and the third, it's like, no, you're cutting your teeth at the level you're supposed to be cutting it at, but you're just not the main card. And I feel like that's what Ngannou needs to do now, is that hopefully the bag is still there from in boxing, but go face someone who you're supposed to beat, someone that has a pulse though, but someone who has a pulse you're supposed to beat, and do an undercard of maybe, I don't know, Fury first Usyk, not Fury first Usyk, but whenever the next undisputed fight is between maybe AJ and the winner, that's where you should go on that card and face someone beatable. So you got your name out there. Hopefully he's got his PFL victory by then, and then go from there. Because I still feel like there's still some, there's still a bit more juice he can squeeze out of this. Yeah,
no, I'm with you. I just think what we've got, and I'm happy because what I wouldn't want as a boxing guy is, if I'm full, it's Ngannou. If he had, again, made it competitive against AJ, I wouldn't have wanted, because I'm like, there's no way an MMA guy, no disrespect, can make it competitive against 2 out of the 3 top heavyweights. It put a sour taste for boxing fans and be one up on MMA guys. And I can't lie, as much as it's petty to say it, it's just one of them things. But I, like you said, I'm happy for Ngannou to continue it. But again, if he was to suffer in that fight as well, then it's call it a wrap. Don't hurt yourself too much at 37, 38, 39 going forward.
For sure.
For AJ then, Eddie Hearn comes out straight away. I've never seen a man jump out of his seat with so much excitement and just run. I don't know if you've seen the video, the way they've captured it. But he's come out straight away because we want Tyson Fury.
Come on, man.
That's fair. And I understand because you mentioned it as
3.0.
But again, I always look at it that, is it just jumping the gun a bit too much, providing the fact that they still have that particular fact? Because for me, I think it is. Because I think Usyk might beat Fury personally.
I don't think he's jumping the gun because he's doing what a promoter's supposed to do. You're meant to hype the fight. And I also feel like it's more of a statement of whether it's for the undisputed or not. Fury, we're coming for you. That's how I saw it. I saw it as, we're not saying, he's not dismissing Usyk, but it's more of a thing of, that's the Battle of Britain. That's the one. That's one of the fights that's always going to have the headlines. Because Usyk can lose to Fury, we still want to see who wins between Fury and AJ. We're still going to want to see that. And I feel like that is the fight where it's just like, yo, I told you all my chips are in. AJ 3.0. He's beating everyone.
Would you then prefer Fury versus AJ, not for the belts, or would you prefer Joshua Usyk for the belts? Like, if only one can.
No, Joshua versus Usyk.
If you take one, you don't get the other.
Let me tell you something right now. Fury is not leaving this game without the AJ fight, because he knows, as much as the games that he likes to play, the money is with AJ, and everyone knows this. No matter how they've tried to besmirch AJ, no matter how much they've tried to, put dirt on his name, etc., etc., AJ is the money fight. So whether AJ goes up against, imagine that Usyk goes and beats both Fury and AJ,
they still be able to.
The money's still in AJ versus Fury. Do you get what I'm saying? And then if AJ somehow wins against whoever wins in the undisputed, do you get what I'm saying? The money is with AJ. So regardless,
gonna just go to, and I think I kind of know your answer. But if we get AJ versus Fury, are we 99.999% sure it's going to be in Saudi Arabia? And if it is, which we expect, I think, are you going to say, does that take just a little bit of a stinger away the fact that it's not at a Wembley Stadium for UK fans to go to?
Let me tell you something. Some of the worst, you know how I feel. Some of the worst and most ungrateful, spoiled fans are the US fans and UK fans, because we've had some great fighters come through our regions, and all we do is find ways to unnecessarily tear them down. So guess what? For all the BS that people try to put on AJ's name, despite the fact that he's the reason why a lot of this is happening, he's the reason what brought UK British boxing to the big time again. He's the reason for a lot of this. And was it 2022 when they tried to tear a man down? And don't get me wrong, call out wrong behavior, but is the way how spiteful it was for some people, the way they were tearing down AJ. Don't now, you know, it's the same way. You know me, I love my wrestling. It's the same way. You see how like The Rock is now with like the whole bloodline story, and he's kind of just like
he's running with it. Everyone likes it.
It's like this is like Hollywood. This is like Hollywood.
But they hated it. They hated it.
Yeah, you hated it, and now you've chosen your side. Do not try to jump back and act like you was for me. So that's why I'm more like, if it doesn't happen in the UK, so oh well, let it happen in Saudi. I hope both my guys get the bag.
Do you know what's funny?
The way the UK shores and the US shores treat some of their top talent sometimes is like, it's some of the nastiest backstabbing stuff. So guess what? You get to miss out, and hopefully it teaches you a lesson to have more respect.
Do you know what's funny enough? Like, in terms of, this is the one thing I'll say, like at the start, I'll be fully, I wasn't the biggest fan. I was like, yo, let me have some of these fights here in the UK type of thing. But if you really deep it, it's going to cost you so much in general to be able to sit where you want to sit, to be able to get
for sure.
And then to be able to actually get the tickets itself is going to be a pain.
Everything's going to cost an arm and a leg.
It might be somewhat feasible to get a flight to Saudi Arabia, a little hotel, a little vacation there, enjoy halal food, and go watch the fight there. Probably in a better seat for the price point, or of a similar price point than you would pay at a Wembley Stadium, for example. So it's not all doom and gloom, really, in terms of it. But for me, I've realized that as long as the fights are being happening, we had an amazing 23, and we're looking at 24, and it's like, it's just as, it's turning into as good, because we're getting the two fights coming up in May and June that we wanted as well. And I think, like you said, domestically, we have Catterall Taylor coming up. That's going to be the biggest UK domestic fight. That's going to show out in Leeds. So again, it's a case of build yourself back up and stuff like that from the UK side, and
sure,
go with the punches. I want to just move on to the core main quickly then. Joseph Parker versus Zhilei Zhang. I'm calling it the Parker Redemption Tour. We talked about AJ. We're on Joseph Parker 2.0, and Joseph Parker is younger than Fury. He's younger than AJ as well. He's been in the game for that long.
Crazy.
That we just assume he's on that same age, but he's a few years younger than both of them guys. Andy Lee, we talked about him before against Deontay Wilder, and in this one again, he got it spot on for me. Like, look, there were 2 knockdowns from Zhang, but they weren't knockdowns of power. It was just like, Parker felt your power, and yes, he went down, but he wasn't out of it at any point in my eyes. He was able to quickly redeem himself, be able to bank in rounds and stuff like that. What was your opinion of the fight itself, and how impressed are you with Joseph Parker with what we're seeing right now?
Joseph Parker 2.0 has been the biggest revelation, because it's almost like ability-wise, he's not separated himself from the pack, but he's just fine-tuned what he does and his tactics to win. And it's amazing. It's just like, this is the same guy that lost to Joe Joyce in emphatic fashion. He was basically fed to Deontay Wilder, He won that. Then the Zhang fight, everyone was looking at it like, what type of reward is this for beating Wilder? And then he goes there and he shows Zhang levels. And I said, 2.0 Joseph Parker is a revelation. He's not going to get the plaudits because it's not as flashy. It's not as, you know, the knockdowns ain't there like others. But credit to him, because the way he's reinvented himself and what him and Andy Lee are doing is special. And I think they might have mentioned that they're going to do
a rematch.
I don't think that's a good idea. But if the bag is nice for him,
I was going to say, this is the thing with Joseph Parker's character. He seems like a very giving person in terms of he's just enjoying the process, and like, because his stocks are so high and they were never meant to be this high.
Yeah,
he said he was like, he's kind of got something to lose, but not fully, if that makes sense. I think one thing that people don't look at is one, the activity of Joseph Parker, but two, if you really deep Joseph Parker's resume, it's a very, very good resume comparative to, like you said, Deontay Wilder, or even like
former world champion as well. People forget that former world champion.
So it's a very good resume, and it's one of them where if it was like someone like Tyson Fury had, you'd be like, that's one of the best resumes in heavyweight boxing. All these Alexander Usyk and stuff like that. And so I think that's another thing, but also I think the activity and this particular fight, like in terms of stylistically, it just helped him because he can hit, move. Zhang carrying 290 pounds as well. Like, do you think he came into that fight a bit not necessarily underprepared, but just not prepared enough in terms of carrying that much amount of weight into this, and Parker expecting 12 rounds potentially as well?
No, I just feel like it's almost like the blueprint for Parker was there before, but because it's Joseph Parker 2.0, it's almost like you didn't know, no one knew what to expect. Because like I said, as viewers, we're all watching that thinking, wait, is this the same Joseph Parker? And he just showed like a new version. He just reinvented himself and went in there and fought an excellent fight. So I don't think it's less to do with Zhang underpreparing and more to do with Joseph Parker just becoming a better version of himself. And everyone else is just, we get to witness it. So, you know, full credit to Parker. I don't think it's advisable to take the Zhang fight because I still feel like it's one of those fights where the equivalent in MMA of fighters that face Justin Gaethje, no matter what, you're leaving that fight with a lot of damage. That's why I don't think it's a good fight, because you can win this again, but it's one of those, like, you don't want to take too much damage from Zhang. So we'll see, but it's also awkward because it's also like, where does Joseph Parker go from here? If, let's say he doesn't face Zhang, where does he go? Like, do you put him against Dubois? Does Joe Joyce? I don't know if Frank Warren has another love for Joe Joyce to start bringing him into the Saudi fold.
Fighting, I think, this weekend or next week.
I just feel like Joseph Parker should go for someone else, but I also think because the belts are all tied up, it's almost like there is no one else. So if Zhang is the one that gets him paid, then face him. Maybe, I guess, Joseph Parker versus Hrgovic, but Hrgovic might also be like, I'm not facing no one until I get my IBF world title shot, which is fair enough. So
yeah, no, I hear it. But with that, we're going to wrap up today's episode. Just before we wrap up again, a quick little shout out to our sponsors, D-Rock Clothing. Mentioned it before, so we'll say it again. Head over to the website, type in the promo code iBoxingHub24, get yourself 40% off. Ray, any final words before we quickly wrap up?
People, you see the socials at the bottom. You see the hashtag. Use it all. Tune in. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, iBoxingHub. Use the hashtag STAYWEIGHEDIN. Keep the engagement going. Send it to your friends. Send it to your cousins. Chain mail it. I don't even send it on MSN. I
think we got a small little technical issue, so we're just gonna
listen, man. They tried to take me out. I said send on MSN, and I don't know why it glitched, but
Windows XP.
Windows XP, send it online. Well, actually, no, I'm about to say don't send online, right? You get viruses, but just send, share, like, all of that, interact, and we'll catch you soon.
Until next.